Hey everybody, welcome back again to the Everyman Movie Review Special, 12 Days of Christmas. Now we're finally kicking off the actual 12 days of Christmas and Christmas movies, those that are probably more traditionally thought about as Christmas movies. Now, again, these are not necessarily your Christmas classics, although there are a few classics mixed in. These are the 12 movies that really helped me go from 0 to 100, from Grinchy to Into the Christmas Spirit as fast as possible, because for me, I don't like celebrating Christmas early. I want to go into the Christmas season about mid-month and then just really enjoy it for about 2 weeks. And this week we're talking about another movie that kind of happens around Christmas time, and there are a lot of Christmas themes, but isn't specifically about Christmas. It is what I would consider a classic for a lot of reasons. It is Home Alone. So any kid who grew up in the 90s, and I'm not talking to you millennials who were born in 1998 and try to talk about growing up in the 90s. I'm talking about the 80s kids who were in their 10, 11, 12, 13-year-old range in the early 90s when this movie came out. This is one of our favorites, and I can say that almost with a certainty to everyone who I know, because when we saw it, when we were that age, we all thought, oh, if only I was given the opportunity to be Kevin McAllister at home alone, defending my house from robbers. Now as an adult, I look back at that and say, oh, thank God that I wasn't put in that scenario, because I lived in a one-floor rancher, and they would have most certainly broken in and murdered me and stolen everything in the house. But, you know, the ignorance of youth, I guess, allows us to think those things when we're young, and then to go back and enjoy those feelings again when we watch it now as adults. Now, let's just jump into the pleasantries right at the top. One thing that I learned when researching this is that this movie was actually written by John Hughes, which was, you know, pretty amazing. Something I didn't know. Directed by Chris Columbus, who was a big director in the 90s, and of course has a cast that you are going to recognize almost immediately. Kevin McAllister, the protagonist here, is played by Macaulay Culkin, probably best known for this role as Kevin McAllister. Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern as the Wet Bandits, Marvin Harry. John Hurd, who was a big actor in the 90s, and I don't think we've heard a lot of him since then, as the father Peter McAllister. And everyone's favorite forgetful mother, Catherine O'Hara, as Kate McAllister. She would go on to play other forgetful, wonderful mothers like the mother from Schitt's Creek, and I just think that she is so fantastic, honestly, and just she and my mother have so much in common. It was weird upon rewatching now as an adult, because I haven't watched it in a couple of years, just to say like, oh man, my mom and her are basically the same person, especially the outfits she was wearing in 1990 with the shoulder pads and everything. I remember all of that, the big hair, everything. It was so weird to rewatch this because all of the kids kind of grew up and became actors later in life. They're all in things you have seen since then. All of the side characters are all also actors we've seen since then. This is like a early on just joining of all of these great actors who we are going to see throughout the 90s and into the early 2000s. And yeah, it's so fantastic and so weird at the same time just to be like, oh, I forgot. Wait, I know her from that thing, but as an adult, and I know him from that thing, but as an adult, I never even recognized that Fuller, the cousin, is actually Macaulay Culkin's little brother, who goes on to have a fantastic career in one of my favorite movies, Igby Goes Down. Just a fantastic cast, and you know they all do a great job in their role. So if you don't know the story of Home Alone, through the 12 days of Christmas, we are not going to be doing spoiler alerts. This is just the movies. It's been out since 1990. I don't know what to tell you. This is more just about me talking about movies that I love and hoping that you're going to want to go out and see them and love them as well. Kevin McAllister is 9 years old. He is a bit of a precocious youth, the kind of youth that Macaulay Culkin often played. And he, on the night before a big trip to go to Paris for the holidays, is acting out because the family just doesn't seem to want him around. They seem to ignore him. They just push him aside. His older brother Buzz eats the pizza that they got for him because he doesn't like toppings. He only likes cheese, and his brother just like stuffs the whole thing in his mouth. So his mother sends him up to the attic room and says, hey, you need to stay up there until tomorrow morning because you're acting out and we don't want this right now. And the rest of the family goes about getting prepared for their trip. Well, during the night, a huge windstorm strikes, and a branch falls on a power line, knocking the power out. At 8 a.m. when they are set to depart, the shuttles to the airport arrive, and of course the family has overslept. There is something about the music that goes on and the way that they've sped up the action in several points throughout this movie that it's one of the reasons I love it. Just the running through the airport scenes, the getting ready in the morning scene are all of these. And later on, of course, Kevin's battle scene. It's just like Christmassy music, but along with like really crazy action that doesn't seem to meet because it's not Christmassy. It's just people running through an airport or whatever. I really enjoyed them getting ready in the morning. But of course, they've forgotten that Kevin is in the attic by himself and they depart for the airport. As I was watching, I was trying to remember, like, how is it that they forgot him? Little neighbor boy comes over and he's digging through the bags just to see what people are taking on the trip. And he accidentally gets counted in the head count. So they think that they have everybody. But when they are on their way over on the plane, Mom wakes up and realizes, oh my God, we left Kevin. And of course, cut to Kevin waking up in the house. Everyone's gone. There's a point at which he wishes that his family would leave. And so, of course, he thinks, oh my God, I made my family disappear. Now he goes about enjoying life as a 9-year-old would. There was another movie from this time period called Blank Check, where a kid gets hit by a rich guy and he just like rips off a check and gives it to him, and it's $1 million. He makes it out for $1 million and cashes it. And it's just like, what would you do if you were 10 and had $1 million? This is kind of like the bargain version of that, because Kevin doesn't have $1 million, but he has a house to himself and he just gets to like run around the house and jump on the bed and like go into all his brother's stuff. So a few risque moments, like the fact that his brother has a Playboy right under his bed that Kevin pulls out and goes digging through. There's a BB gun that he's shooting some figures with. But what would you do if you were 10 and had the run of a 3-story house and didn't have to worry about anything? Soon that wears on him a little bit, and he starts to embrace the fact that he needs to, get ready to be an adult. So he goes shopping and does a bunch of adult things, goes and gets a toothbrush. The transition of like, all right, now I need to be a man and grow up. And one of those things that needing to be a man is defending the house, when he realizes that a set of burglars is making their way through the neighborhood and that his house is next. And one of the interesting things is I always thought that the battle scene was way longer. It really is just like 10 minutes at the end of the movie. But we think about this movie as him versus the burglars. It's so weird how that memory works, where it just skews us in the wrong direction. It really isn't about the battle. It's about Kevin coming to terms with not being a kid anymore and being an adult, and then defending his house and getting ready. And then the battle itself is, 10 minutes and we're out. But, that battle scene is probably why all of us loved it as kids, the things we wish we could have done to set up traps for bullies and everything. Thinking back, I terrorized my sister. I'm sure she would fully admit that I terrorized her all the time. And all of those things are just those little terrors. These movies gave me ideas on ways to terrorize her. Never any tar on stairs with nails or like blow torches or anything, but just like little versions of that. Putting out a micro machine so that she'll slip and fall in it, that kind of stuff. Maybe it worked. I don't even remember if it did. But as a 9-year-old, I thoroughly enjoyed Kevin setting up traps for these robbers. And as an adult, I remember feeling how I felt when I saw it for the first time. And I think one of the most interesting things about this is I have seen since then a Mythbusters on Home Alone, and the real damage that Kevin would have done to real people had he done it, like the paint can coming down at, let's say, 30 miles an hour would have like separated the top part of the skull and just like caved it in rather than just knocking him down the stairs. Blowtorch to the top of the head is likely to just basically lead to death. Anything that he did to them would have probably killed them. The hot iron on the doorknob, it puts it in perspective, because you sit there and you think, hey, all these things would be super fun and cute, but no, you would have done some serious damage to these guys. They would not have made it through the first level to continue in. Falling down icy stairs probably would have killed Marv. That's just what's going to happen. But let's suspend some disbelief and enjoy Kevin McAllister defending his home from the bad guys. So, while you're trapped inside, maybe not while the littlest kids are around, because it's a little bit dirty, and maybe not the kind of movie you would want with some youngsters from today around. You're stuck at your parents' house and you're just looking for something to get you really into Christmas spirit. Again, this is a nice entree. It's like The Nightmare Before Christmas, because it's not really a Christmas movie. It happens at Christmas. There's a lot of Christmas themes, but really this is about a kid doing some wacky things to defend his house from robbers. I came out of it like being like, oh man, yeah, like I miss that feeling of being little and like loving Christmas and loving that. And I think those two feelings kind of go together, and they can really help you get into the Christmas spirit. Of course, go check out Home Alone this holiday season to get yourself into the Christmas spirit. And that's it for another episode of the Everyman Movie Review. Thank you once again for joining me for this special series, The 12 Days of Christmas. Quickly, if you want to support me and all the work that I'm doing, especially in this time of giving, a great way to do that is to go on over to patreon.com/Robert N. Cheek and become one of my patrons for the next year. For as little as $1 a month, you get early access to everything, and you get mentions and thanks in all the videos and the works that I do, whether it's a screenplay or a book, or these YouTube videos, or even some of the short films that we're working on. So that's, of course, patreon.com/Robert N. Cheek. And you can find me for free, of course, at all your social networks, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Tumblr, Snapchat, TikTok, where I'm trying to make some really funny videos with my nephew through this holiday season. You can find me on all those places at Robert N. Cheek. You're probably watching right now on the YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/Rob Cheek. Please make sure you check out all the other videos, my usual Everyman movie reviews, the Rob Explains series, and I got a lot of exciting stuff coming. So why not hit that subscribe button? Give me a gift for the holiday season. And give yourself a gift. Hit the notification button so you know when I post my next video. And if you're listening to this in podcast form, of course, you're probably doing so at anchor.fm/Everyman Movie Reviews. And you might not be directly on that site, but Anchor is where you're going to be able to find a link to wherever it is that you listen to podcasts. And of course, don't forget to check out robertncheek.com, where it's got more information about me and everything that I'm working on. You got nothing but time. It's the holidays. You're sitting around. Go check it out. And if in between these shows and the movies that you're going to be watching, of course, from the 12 Days of Christmas, you got a little extra time, make sure you check out the Oh the Anthem podcast. New episodes of that podcast come out every Tuesday. You can find more information at ohtheanthem.com. The videos are available at youtube.com/ohtheanthem, and you can find it at anchor.fm/ohtheanthem in podcast form. Thank you guys once again for joining me again for this special series. Make sure you tune in tomorrow because we're going to have another movie for the 12 Days of Christmas special. I'm so excited to bring you my favorite movies from this time of year on 12 consecutive days leading up to Christmas Day. Have a happy holiday season. I hope you're enjoying it with your family, and my best to you and yours during this time of year. So until next time, have a great weekend.